Well, anyway, so everyone, this is Dr. Cat Powell. You can see how crummy my phone is now. Uh, and now, Kat, do you have, she's from Long Island, New York, a little bit about her. Met her in PT school. We both went to Stony Brook University, but I don't want to tell everyone everything about you. I think you probably do a little bit of a better job introducing yourself. So can you tell anyone and everyone who you are and what you do a little bit and how you got there kind of thing?
All right. Yeah, like Nick said, we went to Stony Brook together. He was a couple of years ahead of me. And it's kind of cool to see everybody from Stony Brook kind of evolving into, their own niches and practices and just finding ways to best help our patients. And I grew up here on Long Island. I then went down to Arlington, Virginia for undergrad at Marymount University. And there I played soccer and lacrosse. But being a New Yorker, I decided to come home and go to Stony Brook for PT school and have stayed here since. Right now I'm doing a mobile concierge visit, so I treat patients one-on-one in their homes or now virtually. And I got into telehealth even before COVID, started and before everything shut down. And now it's been a great tool to kind of help people still remain safe and still protect themselves or their family members and still get access to care they need, even if they are sick or have limited, transportation or they don't want to go into a busy clinic. I'm able to still assess them, see how they're moving, see what's going on, where their pain is coming from, and come up with a plan to get them out of pain as fast as possible. And so also with COVID and everybody working from home now, there's been, such an increase in people sitting, having to sit at home and work or not even walking to the car to drive on their commute. And so a lot of people were telling me how much their back's been bothering them, both people who have had back pain for years and people who never had back pain before. So it's more of a discomfort or stiffness. And that's what kind of caused me to say, let me create something that'll help people. And so I came up with the online back relief program that people can do on their own. And it's a 4-week program with daily workouts to help alleviate back pain and discomfort with a, purposeful progression over the, 4 weeks time. And everybody who's started it already has already seen relief where they're like, okay, I'm definitely tight in this area or I'm very stiff trying to do this exercise. I need this, and I'm now able to kind of, have guidance as to what to do each day, how to gradually build and, get rid of some of those aches and pains. So it's been, really cool to, again, offer just like a different avenue for people to get access to care they need during this time and, not worry about continuing to spread this, disease and pandemic that's happening.
Yeah, no, that is a great service to offer for that reason as well. And I think I want to touch on how you mentioned that people are noticing that with the activities and I guess the education too. Probably you're educating them, through this online interface. They're getting the results that they're looking for, and I think that's actually really telling to what we do as physical therapists, because a lot of it is education based, but people think that we have to put our hands on them, and it's almost limiting to the person's autonomy to think that way because it's their body and they should be the ones to choose who, what, and why is laying their hands on them. But I love that you mentioned that people are getting the results without having to be touched by the therapist. So that is a wonderful message there.
Mm-hmm. And you and I, we're both manual physical therapists, and you have your pelvic floor specialty, which, both of us do perform hands-on techniques that benefit the patient. But at the end of the day, the patient education, understanding where their pain is coming from or why it may be happening and what else might be contributing to their pain, and then being able to guide them through proper movements and exercises and learn how to correct kind of the common patterns that the body falls into, or that, maybe they don't even realize they're leaning to one side all the time. Mm-hmm. And so by us just educating them and saying, hey, look at this now, this is how you're standing, that's what's making this muscle tight, this muscle has to overwork, and now let's realign. And that's where, again, you don't need the hands-on part to make that correction. And ultimately, that's the long-term relief and the long-term benefit of working with physical therapists. As movement specialists, we're able to see and kind of critique these subtle dysfunctions or these subtle impairments and allow the person to feel out their own body and learn how to correct themselves and not feel the need like I need somebody to do this for me. It's like, no, I'm the patient. I'm now empowered and know exactly what to do to best help my body.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's interesting because telehealth, it's giving you the opportunity to see the person in their environment too. So I think, being in a less structured environment like the physical therapy clinic, when you are evaluating them via telehealth, it's almost, in a way, more accurate, more specific to the person's lifestyle because they're in their own home. I mean, they're also going to be a little more at ease, just because, again, the comfort of being at home. And then also, I mean, they can bring the camera to where you need them to and they need to show you these different movement patterns while, say, they're working at the kitchen, and you can see, different ergonomic habits while they're doing functional things. So that is great.
Yeah, my last patient that I helped, she's been dealing with kind of a little bit of low back pain and some right-sided glute and hip pain. And and this all started since she started working at home. And so I was like, okay, I did my movement assessment. I saw what was going on, areas she was a little weak in. And then I was like, okay, now bring me to your workstation. And, not everybody has the fanciest chair or, you just have to make do with what you have, including, I do telehealth in my living room, which most therapists do because it's the best space in my house to move, to adjust the camera, to be able to demonstrate the exercises, and to also then just guide people through a routine. And so she was able to take me to her dining room. Mm-hmm. She's like, this is the chair I'm sitting on every day. She's like, here's my computer. And I was like, okay, now let's just set up the camera and I want you to sit in the chair. Okay, let's add a towel or an added cushion to your chair to get your hips above your knees. Let's make sure that the laptop is at the right height. And just those simple adjustments, she already felt the difference the next day in sitting and going to work. And by no means did it erase her pain right away. There's other things that she still needs to work on. But it did make enough of an improvement to say, okay, I now have a better idea of how I can adjust my sitting, and also I always tell people, if you can get up and stand pretty frequently, like the next posture is the best posture. You just need to get up and move a little bit, do some stretches or exercises in the chair if you can, if you're not able to stand up, and just keep finding the positions that work best for you.
I'm glad you brought up the standing thing because recently I got as a gift an iWatch from my girlfriend, and it's telling me it wants me to stand like 12 times a day. But yeah, it like totally, I don't know how it does it, but it totally keeps track of how many times I stand a day. So this iWatch, if you guys who's ever watching, apparently it's like a little physical therapist in there too. Hey James.
A nice reminder to say, oh crap, I've been sitting for a long time, and then it starts creating those little habits of is like, oh, my watch is going to yell at me again. Let me just get up. And next thing you know, you're getting up without needing the nudge or needing the reminder. And then you start feeling better.
Yeah, absolutely. I used to tell people actually to set an alarm on their phone, for every hour or so if they were working at an office. And you know what's bad about that though? I I had a smartphone now I just joined technology maybe a little over a year ago now. So I was totally unaware of the fact that people already had these things in place that could be reminding them. So I was going as primitive as saying, "Oh yeah, set an alarm on your phone or get a timer or something." And here I am with my flip phone being like, "Yeah, because everyone has this, right?"
I'm not on that boat either yet. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I can at least look at my steps on my iPhone and say, okay, I did nothing that day, or if I had my phone on me versus like, okay, that was a great day. I did walk.
Yeah.
And now the plus of people working from home, I mean, there's definitely, some downsides. Again, added back pain and increased sitting time. However, now that you're not commuting, it's like, if you woke up just a little bit earlier, why don't you go on that walk outside? Or during your lunch break, just take a walk around the block, or just get outside, get some sunlight. Maybe you can do a couple additional things now that you're not sitting in the car.
Right.
And, kind of having, if you are somebody who likes having technology and remind you and assist you and be able to track what you're doing, it kind of incentivizes you too, like, oh, let me try and beat my score from yesterday, or just, okay, I forgot I got caught up on a project, let me just get outside for 5 minutes and then come back and reset.
Yeah. We're such goal-oriented creatures, aren't we? Just as humans, we seem to always want to have something where we're beating our record from last time, or we're beating the other person's record. Do you remember I mean, they still have them, but the original Fitbit, like when Fitbit started becoming popular? And it was like you could do competitions with your friends and stuff. I think you can with the iWatch phone thing too, but I remember it was always a competition. Always a competition. So we were always in either a competition with our friends or ourselves, and that seems to be a big motivating factor for people. How do you feel like have you noticed a change in going from in person to like now that people are more home oriented? Have you noticed a change in goal setting for people at all?
Yes and no. I think it kind of has varied from person to person. Some people who were very active before and were going to the gyms regularly and had their routine, they have now found themselves being more sedentary. And obviously this doesn't go for everybody. And then other people who maybe had long commutes or just never had or made the time to, go to the gym, or just by the time they get home at 7 o'clock, they're like, I'm not going, to a class, or I missed the last class. But now they don't have that long day or long commute anymore. And so they're like, oh, I'm walking. I'm actually doing more. So the goals of the people who were active prior, now sedentary, are just like, hey, I need something I can do without access to my gym at home, and I need to get back into a routine that, will help me and help either get me back in shape or start getting me in shape to return to the gym once those reopen.
Yeah.
Because we're going to see, I'm sure, a wave of everybody rushing back to the gym. You hadn't, put any weight on your squat in months, and now you're jumping back to what you were lifting prior, and that's going to lead to different flare-ups and injuries. And as for the more sedentary people who, maybe wanted to get to the gym but couldn't or weren't so consistent, now they've become more active. So now they're starting to get a little bit of like training overload and some overuse injuries, or maybe some aches and pains that nothing's really injured, but their body is kind of giving them some warning signs like, hey, you're doing something different you've never done before. You might have to slow your progression or work on some other things as well at this time to prevent it from worsening or prevent it from an injury. And so I feel like those are kind of the two different goals of, different styles of people right now.
Yeah.
And having this more of a luxury now of, even food delivery or pick up outside of a restaurant or a supermarket or a convenience store. Now people are kind of getting even more accustomed to Amazon delivery specials. So now it's like, hey, you can also get your medical services at home.
Yeah.
You don't have to drive anywhere. If you're kind of pressed for time in the office or on a project, you can just hop on a call much quicker than you could have trying to race there. And as always, we screen still. If somebody needs an in-person session or something doesn't sound right with their, back pain or their shoulder pain, we'll still refer to the appropriate provider.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely still have to be aware of all the red flags still, and you almost have to be a little more creative in looking for things to make sure that you look for things since you're not going to be there with the person.
Mm-hmm. And with my back relief program, because it's not a physical therapy session. Like, it is designed as an online training program for people to do independently. But being a physical therapist and always looking for those red flags, I'm still screening everybody prior to starting the program. So I'm still making sure they are appropriate for it and that they don't have any red flags, which for anybody listening who doesn't know what red flags are, let's say you have back pain, but you've also been vomiting frequently, or you have bladder and bowel dysfunction. You've had a drastic change in weight loss or appetite. And most people, when I say that, they're like, I would love to lose 30 pounds now, but it's like, yes, you would, but not overnight.
Right.
That shouldn't happen in a week.
Yeah.
Severe night sweats, maybe severe numbness, tingling, or loss of kind of motor control or muscle function in your arms or legs. So those are all serious signs and symptoms that, if a person told me that prior to starting the program, I would say, this isn't for you. Like, you're not doing this program. I want you to go, get checked out right away, to make sure it's not something more serious, or to get clearance prior to doing this online training program. Because then a lot of times, like, even when we're just going through, somebody's medical history,
Mm-hmm.
and again, that's a big component of what we do, and kind of piecing together the puzzle of, they've had this neck pain for years, what's really going on?
Yeah.
And now we're listening to their medical history, different medications they're on, and, they bring up an incident or an injury that happened so many years ago, and it's like, well, ever since that happened, this is now how you've been sitting, or
Right.
turning your head, or not turning your head, because that, it was painful at the time, the tissues have now healed, but you're still adapting to a new posture, assuming there's going to be pain, even though there's not. So I always tell people, share more than you think is necessary, especially for physical therapists, because, the body is connected in so many ways, and, you want to share more with your medical provider so that they can take the time to truly analyze and truly figure out what's going on and see what other factors might be playing a role here.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting you bring that up, sharing more than less, because I'm pretty sure there's a statistic that it's every 8 seconds in a medical doctor appointment, the patient is interrupted. I could be getting that statistic a little wrong. I don't know. If it's exactly 8 seconds, but there was something along those lines. So I think that typically, since people have been referred to us by a doctor, even though they don't have to, there's direct access, so people can come to us without a script. Um, they have this mindset already of, let's get to the point. Let me get out what I need to get out to the physical therapist, and like just say what I need to say quickly, and leave out whatever I don't think is necessary. So I think it's just kind of that, like, let me just get it all in quick and before I get interrupted. So I think that that's interesting that you bring that up. And yeah, I mean, the history is the most important part, right? I mean, your subjective interview with the person tells you, it paints the picture of the entire thing. I'll oftentimes tell people, think like 3 months before, like the onset of your symptoms, and go back to that and start telling me the story from there. Like, start
Yes.
from before, because I want to know what was going on beforehand leading up to it, because a lot of times there's something there that led to where they are. So
Absolutely, and it could be as simple as, oh, I got a new pillow, or I switched my sneakers. And it's like, well, you never had foot pain prior, now you got a new pair of sneakers, your activity level stayed the same, um, so maybe there's something wrong with the shoe, and that's not the best one for you. And then how would, in your field too, because being a pelvic floor specialist, you're obviously talking about a lot of, sensitive and kind of private information with people, which I feel, you especially have to build that trust and rapport with your patients for them to fully open up. And that's your areas of, a niche of physical therapy that most people don't know. You're out there and you can help them.
mm.
Do you want to share kind of a little bit about your specialty and
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just as I would say it's just as manageable via telehealth as is, low back pain like you're doing, or neck pain, shoulder pain, things like that. I could just a brief anecdote for you. Patient, was having horrible nighttime incontinence, so they were peeing themselves at night, wetting the bed, and they couldn't figure it out. They've been to the urologist, several times. Tried different medications. It's just not working. They get to me, and this is an in-person thing, but this is obviously something that could have been handled via telehealth, because in our interview, it came up that they were drinking a pot of coffee every night before they went to bed. So I don't, so I don't know anyone's awareness of caffeine as a diuretic. So caffeine makes it so your bladder fills more. Uh, so now overnight, he drank a pot of coffee, and his bladder's filling more than it typically would, because he had caffeine, and that was leading to him wetting himself. And we just did a little education on what's a diuretic, so what things to be aware of that are going to fill the bladder more, and never had to see him again. So that
that's
was
awesome.
case closed. It was
Yeah,
really
and
simple.
how beneficial it is to somebody thinking they're having,
Yeah.
this issue, they can't figure out the why, and all it did was you listening to the full story and
Hmm.
getting an idea of their routine and what might be contributing to that, and now he doesn't have to be embarrassed or concerned
Hmm.
every night that he's wetting the bed.
Absolutely. And actually, just with my own business, I typically do try to take a pretty extensive subjective, do an interview before I meet the patient, even to decide if physical therapy is something that they need. I'll do my best to, because obviously sometimes their or my schedule won't line up, but I'll try to get on the phone with them beforehand, before we even, schedule like the first time that we're trying to set up the appointment, and just kind of sit down and open a note for them already, and just kind of start jotting down the subjective, and starting to kind of try to dig away at what's going on and why. Um, so
Yeah,
that's so helpful. It's so helpful for myself and the patient in so many ways.
absolutely. And that's where I've had a lot of patients simply say, like, I can't believe how much time you've spent with me, or I've never had a provider,
Oh yeah.
I've never spent this along with a provider before, it's normally like in and out in 3 minutes, or again, you're kind of in a busy clinic where, you're kind of just sitting around or waiting to know what to do next, or
Yeah.
something comes up and you want to share it with the PT, but they're just not available. So in our, businesses, at least we're one-on-one, you can take that time and, maybe somebody doesn't remember, something that happened a couple months ago, and then mid-session it's just like, oh, I forgot I had this going on, and,
Yeah.
it just helps, just their overall treatment and how to get them the best results, as fast as possible.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And that's one of the reasons why I love being a physical therapist, as I'm sure you do too. It just you can take your time with it. You can get to know the person. You can make lifestyle changes. That's the big thing, is helping people change their lifestyles to improve their quality of life.
Mm-hmm. And that's by no means easy, but it's so rewarding when, patients finally see how much it's going to positively impact them, or how much progress they've made, just by making a few adjustments, or, little steps working towards their end goal. And that, too, is where our field, in our profession is, not always glorified, because it takes time, it takes
Hmm.
work. There's no magic pill, as much as we would all like that.
I would hate that. It
But
would put us out of business.
yeah, I know. It would put a lot of people out, and so
I'm just kidding.
it just. But once people see, like, hey, I can, help you not wet the bed, or I can help you do yard work without back pain, or I can help you go on a hike with your family and not worry about slowing them down, or having knee pain, or whatever's holding you back.
Hmm.
We're able to get people back to those activities and really feel good about themselves.
Yeah. Um, no, that's so true. Now, I wanted to. I know we're kind of running out of time here, so I just wanted to quick go over, like, how can people find you, Kat? Like, if they wanted to sign up for your services. I don't know what states are you licensed in, first of all. So are you New York exclusively? Has anything changed with reciprocity that where you could see people in other states?
Yeah, so for physical therapy, I'm only licensed in New York.
Okay.
For online training programs, that's not physical therapy. So that could help people outside of New York.
That's
And
for
the
your
fitness
that's for your
program,
low back workshop,
yes,
right? Okay.
yes, for the back relief program. But again, telehealth visits, physical therapy is exclusively New York, and that's now with telehealth. I'm on Long Island, but if somebody upstate, like one of my patients, she lives up there, I'm able to help her right away, and you don't have to worry about, well, you're completely, far away geographically. I would never be able to see you in person, but now telehealth, allows you to see providers across whatever state you're in.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
So
great.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So people can find me at powerfulpt.com,
Okay.
and they can also email me at catpowell@powerfulpt.com. They can always shoot me a Facebook message,
Can you
or find me
spell
on Instagram.
can you spell that, your last name?
Yes, Powell.
Okay. And for the cat, it's just CAT, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure I clarified, because I originally thought you only had one L in your name until I until I started typing it out and tagging you and stuff.
Yeah, no, and that's very common too, and sometimes even as my name's going, it might autocorrect to one L, but it's two L's. And I came up with Powerful PT actually because in senior year of high school we had a business and economics project, and I had already known I wanted to become a physical therapist, so I was like, I'm going to create a PT business, It's called Powell Full
Oh
Physical
gosh.
Therapy.
It's like a there's like
Very,
a dad joke almost.
yes, yeah.
We play on
And
those words.
so that was my design. I was like, I'm going to provide one-on-one treatment, get people better, and just have a place for, me to help more and more people out. And so that was the original name, and I went to Powerful. I like that as well, because that can go into other avenues as well of, your recovery, your mindset, your well-being, your fitness,
Yeah.
but the cheesy, powerful is where this all began.
Awesome. That's great. So any parting words, any takeaway messages that you want for people before we end up here?
I would say that, don't wait for an ache or discomfort to become something more serious. By seeing a physical therapist right away, you're able to keep something at bay and prevent it from becoming, a more intense injury that might then take longer to recover and heal from. So even if you're not sure if something, is or is not worth seeing somebody for, I say always ask, it can never hurt just to say like, hey, can I get, an idea? I've been dealing with this discomfort. Will it go away on its own, or is there
Mm-hmm.
anything I can do about it? So, don't hesitate. Your body, is more important, and your well-being, and just being able to live your life and not be held back by anything.
Great. Those a wonderful message. Um, and you hear that from so many PTs, so that's great. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing your time with us and the followers of Timeless Physical Therapy, and now Powerful Physical Therapy as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Kat. We do appreciate your time, and we hope you stay safe up there in New York. Um,
Thank you.
and
And
we understand it's a little rough up there, right? Are things dying down a little bit, or?
a little bit. We've now been on a steady decline, and slowly, like Long Island's not open yet, fully,
Hmm.
but they're trying to do so systematically. But it's a lot of families and friends have been impacted by this. So it's even as society reopens, it's not something that we need, should underestimate, and still need to take, special precautions to protect those that are more vulnerable, and also our frontline workers. So hopefully, again, this continues to decline, and, people can get back to some type of normalcy. And, but yeah, and I know down by you too, you guys just opened, or more fully,
Yeah,
correct?
we're allowed to like get face tattoos, and people are bowling in the streets and here in Atlanta. So that's that's about what we got right now.
Oh man.
But
But I hope you stay safe as well, and I appreciate you having me on, and this has been great. And obviously anybody in your state too, pelvic floor therapy is very important, and I always refer to people like you, if I'm not able to help the patient with issues like that. And, it's always about finding the provider that will help the patient the best. And even if it takes a team of providers, that's ultimately what happens in order to get the best results for people.
well, great. We appreciate that. Thank you for being a referral source.
Absolutely.
But
And,
well, we will talk soon, my friend. And like I said, stay safe.
all right. I'll talk soon. Have a good one.
You too. All right, everyone. So that was Dr. Kat Powell. Remember, you can get to her low back program. You can look her up on Instagram, Facebook, and she has her website now, Powerful PT. Uh, a great thing about that program, it sounds like too, is that you don't necessarily need to live in New York because it's not a physical therapy based practice, I suppose. But otherwise, she still does do physical therapy. So keep that in mind. If you live in New York, you can enlist in her services. Thanks again for joining us. Appreciate it. Sorry that I wasn't able to get her live on the screen. This was my first time using Facebook Live, if you couldn't tell. But we'll see if we can get things working a little bit better next time. I do have a few more interviews lined up for us as the weeks and months go on, actually. All right, take care of yourselves. Stay safe, everyone.